Hello, history scholars. Mrs. Olson here. Before we begin, I'd like to encourage all of you watching and learning from this video lesson to take notes. So have a paper and a piece of paper and a pen handy, or you can have another window open on your computer and you can be typing your notes in a Word, Google, or any other kind of document that you are choosing to take notes in. Now, the title to our lesson today is Introduction to Native American History. So hopefully most of this is going to be review for you, as most of you, having gone to school in the state of Washington, should have got this actually last year in the 4th grade. So beginning with our learning target, it says that you will be able to understand the historical background of Native Americans before European colonization. So if we're going to look forward into your 5th grade social studies year, you're going to be learning about Europeans coming to the United States and settling and colonizing here. Okay, so let's go to our first slide. So back up just a little bit. So on your note page, you would be writing Ice Age for a main idea. And so what we're going to be talking about is people coming over during the Ice Age across the Bering Land Bridge. Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture here in a moment so that you can get a visual inside of your head about what that land bridge looked like. So back when the whole world was covered with ice, there was actually, it started to melt just a little bit, but there was this bridge that kind of connected Asia and America. Okay, so that's this note right here. The Bering Land Bridge was a piece of land that connected Asia and actually went on into Alaska. Who's ever been to Alaska before? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, now when the people came over from Asia into Alaska, they then started to go down the coast into what we consider present-day Washington, Oregon, and California. So they start making settlements along the west coast of North America. So here is our picture. So here is Asia, and this is actually separated by water now, but during the Ice Age it was connected. And so not only did you have people crossing the Bering Land Bridge, but you also had animals. Okay, so here is another picture that shows you the Bering Land Bridge. Okay, so here is Asia. So here's Siberia, which is present-day Russia. Okay, here is Alaska, Canada, and this was all land back during the Ice Age. Sometimes you might hear of the Bering Land Bridge called BERINGIA. Okay, on to the next slide. And another visual. So this one is kind of like looking over the top of the globe and is showing you the Bering Land Bridge once again. Here is Asia and the land that was connected and how the migration of people settled throughout what we consider present-day North America. Okay, so a new note on your piece of paper, and we're going to fast forward a whole bunch of years and say that the Ice Age ends, okay? So what happens when the Ice Age ends is that there are changes in climate. So the weather starts to get warmer, the ice melts, and our oceans rise. And so it makes it more hospitable. It makes it easier for people to live on the land. And so when that happens, we actually increase in population. So people spread and people start to settle down and make families. So that increases the population. Okay, so here is a photo, not a photograph, a picture to give you an idea of the first peoples who are settling in North America. And that's what we're getting to next. So people start to settle. And when they start to settle and create they're not quite cities yet, but to create these settlements, so first they turn into villages, and then they're going to keep growing and growing. But when the people first settled, they figured out how to cultivate seeds and plants. So they become highly skilled farmers. And this is a very specific note, and it reads that as early as 5500 BC, so a long time ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, there were tribes in present-day Mexico that learned how to cultivate corn and squash. Who likes corn? Who likes squash? Okay, so a picture of corn, a picture of different kinds of squashes, and they also learn how to raise turkeys and llamas, and they begin to hunt deer and bison. So all of those are going to create protein for the people's diets, and they're going to help them to get nutrients and to live longer. Okay, there's our wild turkey. Does anybody go turkey hunting? Or well, you can't hunt buffalo. You can raise buffalo today, but buffalo and bison are somewhat interchangeable words, and here is a picture of a bison. Okay, so continuing with this, these notes about people settling. Now, the peoples that were along the coast, which is, you know, think about, has anybody ever been to Forks, Washington, or Astoria, Oregon? Those are places where people, near places where native peoples settled. And so if they were on the coast, what was available to them were sea mammals. Think of like seals. They actually constructed boats, and they taught themselves how to fish. Okay? So here is one picture to give you an idea in your head about tribes on the coast hunting sea mammals and catching fish. And here is another one. A little bit warmer. They don't have very many clothes on, or maybe it's the summertime, but here is a net that they have used to catch their fish. Okay, so as Native Americans keep settling and growing, they're going to develop states. They're going to develop governments. Okay? So this one reads that after 2000 BC, some Native Americans developed states which governed thousands of people. So this is the one thing that I want you to remember, that these Native American villages are actually bigger than villages. They turn into towns and cities with thousands of people in them. Okay? And I guess my animation's out of order. That's okay. Some of these cities, these Native American cities, they included palaces, temples, burial sites. This is supposed to help you understand that there were many peoples within America. And yeah, there were many peoples within America before the Europeans came over, and they were established cultures. So this one reads that some American Indian cities, they were as big as cities in Europe and Asia. I think that's one thing that not a lot of people actually think about, is that there weren't just tribes of 20 or 40 American Indians. There were actually cities with thousands of people. Okay. So, to give you an example, along the Missouri and Illinois rivers was actually a city called Cahokia. So you can see how it was constructed. And this is an ancient Pueblo city in the southwestern part of the United States. You can actually visit it today, as these people are doing. Pretty cool, huh? And they actually established economies. So economy is kind of a big word, but think about trade. Think about how people make money. And so Native Americans, before the Europeans came over, they had, I'm going to move me, they had established trade routes across the water and across the land. And so they were trading the different things that they were making and growing and selling them. So that means that they had money and they had this economic system in which to be able to sustain themselves. Okay, let's talk about culture. There were many different tribal nations, and I'm going to show you a map that shows you just how many different tribes there were. And each of the tribes had their own language and different traditions, which we will get to in lessons in a day or two. And, whoop, that one said ways of living. Okay, so before the Europeans came over, the Native Americans were established people with their own ways of thinking and doing and being. Okay, so here are some Native American homes, and there's going to be another lesson that specifically focuses on different Native American homes. This one is showing you Pacific Northwest tribe with their boats, canoes, whoops. And here is a Midwestern tribe in their canoe. Okay, so they had their own ways of creating and doing things. This photograph, or these photographs, are showing you different Native American tribes and how they dressed differently. Okay, and we've got two more slides. So here is a map, sorry guys, here is a map that shows you all different kind of Native American languages. And one more slide is going to show you all the different tribes in some parts of Canada, all of the United States, and then this map even shows you tribes that were in Mexico. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of, and it's an overview of Native American history. There are going to be some lesson questions that go along with this video lesson, so use your notes on those questions and ask me questions if you have them. Bye guys!